Is one of those times in your life where you know that God's speaking directly to you and saying, hey, this is the path I have, laid out for you. At a young age, I kind of found trouble, or trouble found me. It doesn't really matter. Either way, I was in it. It wasn't until my 9th grade year where I was kicked out of school to where I really found Jesus. And that was kind of a turning point in my life. And from there, I was involved in sports. I was a baseball player. I was looking to be drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays and the Seattle Mariners and the Texas Rangers. I think this was God trying to get my attention, but I had a broken ankle, I had an ACL surgery, and all my dreams and hopes of becoming a professional ball player kind of went down the drain. Slowly over the next 10 years, I gained about 130, 140 pounds. And it was this weird cycle of depression, and I would eat because I was depressed, and food for me became a coping mechanism. I did find a bit of hope and joy with serving in the church and in the community, and went to school, took theology classes, and absolutely loved looking after my spiritual life. But what I neglected was the physical life, and that soon bled into my spiritual life with that depression. And I still felt depressed, and I got to the point where the food and the eating and everything was out of control. I was hiding food. My wife would make me a lunch, and I would eat it on the way to work, and then I would eat more food at work when I got home. She was working at a restaurant. I would eat like all the leftovers she brought, as well as make dinner. I was pre-diabetic. Not only was it bleeding into my spiritual life now it's it's coming to the point where this is just dangerous. I remember there was a point where I was on the floor with my dog, and I was wrestling around, and it was like 5 minutes, and I'm wheezing. I remember the exact day. It was February 14th, Valentine's Day, and my wife, she comes up to me and says, I've got a present for you. And you're thinking sweet, this is gonna be chocolates, this is gonna be, whatever it is. And she says, put out your hand, and I put out my hand, and it was a pregnancy test. She goes, we're pregnant. And at that point in my life, I realized that it was almost like I had this greater responsibility. And it wasn't that, being a husband wasn't a great responsibility. It wasn't that, taking care of myself, for myself wasn't a great responsibility. But now that I have this other life to look after, okay, I want to be around there for my kid. My wife grew up without a dad, and I've seen the hurt and the pain that's caused. I'd watched The Biggest Loser quite a bit, and I was like, maybe I'll just take a stab in the dark. We'll try it out. I had actually tried applying a few years back. I remember talking to my wife about it. She goes, let's pray about it, and then go from there, right? So we prayed about it that night. The next morning, we got a phone call. I didn't apply this year. I didn't send in a video. I didn't go to a casting call, and it's one of those times where it's just like you don't even need to question it. You say, okay, God, that was a quick answer to prayer.
He's a former baseball MVP. This season, Jordan made the ultimate sacrifice for his growing family back home.
Come on, go to work. Go to work. You, sir, are a rock star.
Your starting weight was 323. Your current weight is...
I had to deal with my mess while I was there, and people ask me, how did you become successful? How did you lose the weight? How did you do that? Well, one of the things is turning to food and turning and using that as a coping mechanism, as opposed to actually giving that stuff to Jesus and letting him help me through that. I was using food as an idol, and it wasn't until that point where I started seeing results physically, where I knew that I could keep going. I knew that this was good. This was going to be possible. now I'm at the point now where I'm home now. I got a beautiful baby boy. I love being a dad, and I love being able to spend time with him. And I'm in a place now where I can play with him on the ground without getting winded or any of that. But more importantly, I'm starting to realize, the love of Jesus Christ that he had for me, and the sacrifice that he gave to us, right? And I think of my struggle, my journey, how difficult it was just a blip on the radar compared to what he's done for us. And to do that and to go through that and to see, God work through my life, it's been one of the toughest things, but by far one of the coolest things that I've ever done.